infrastructure push, developments are happening. The BJP government is, in action of giving UP that particular, change of. Probably the face of UP is going to change. Things are getting inaugurated.
But this expressway, thanks for having me on your show, ma'am. Well, this is what we see is development being delivered. Development, and development. If you look at this expressway, if I was broadly looking at the price or the cost involved, it's more than $5 billion. And because it starts from Meerut and goes to Prayagraj, we already have a Delhi Meerut expressway which is up and running. If you combine the two, the length will be around 700 kilometers or more, which will be, I think, the third biggest or the second biggest expressway in the whole of the country. I think number one is Delhi-Mumbai, which is being conceptualized right now. Then number two will be Mumbai to Nagpur. This will be number three, or it will be number two, something like that. So if this kind of development is happening, it corresponds with the vision of Honorable Prime Minister of Mission Gati. Speed is the essence. Speed brings down the cost. Speed increases the productivity. Speed increases the economic stature of a Pradesh. And if you look at Purvanchal, which has been historically neglected, now with this expressway coming in from Delhi to Prayagraj, Delhi will be literally joined with Prayagraj in a matter of few hours. So this is a great development. And what we came to know already is a 6 lane, and it will be going to 8 lane. So that the scope of expansion is in 18.5 lakh trees. So possibly it will be carbon neutral and all powered and driven by solar energy. So this is also an important aspect. So we are doing development, we are doing sustainable development, we are taking care of the carbon. We have been completing expressways in a record amount of time, and the budget money is allocated. 94% of the land is already acquired. Budget is there, land is there, foundation stone is laid. So this is a very welcome move, and it will be the second in the country. So the people of Uttar Pradesh are happy. They are seeing that development is not being talked, it is being delivered. If you look at the Purvanchal Expressway, if you look at this way, and there is one commonality between the two. Both of the expressways have this airstrip which can be used as a redundance for these redundant airstrips are strategic asset to the country, because in eventuality, or God forbid, is a situation like that, this gives a lot of muscle, this gives a lot of power, and that is what China and Pakistan will be aircraft. The last expressway, I see this, so I'm happy to see that this is happening. So, Jewar Airport, if you look at Purvanchal Expressway, and with this, I think UP will be number one state in terms of expressways. And such mega projects being announced, delivered in time, and I'm very sure, which I am, Yogi ji will come back to power, and it's in a matter of 3-4 years. For the next elections, this will be completed in the Purvanchal Expressway, because land acquisition is done, carbon neutral is done, solar energy is done, money is allocated, and $5 billion for a road, 36,000 crore is a lot of money. I mean, this kind of budgets to allocate at the time of, when usually people don't try to do it, because if they're not confident they're not coming back or not, because Yogi ji and Keshav Prasad Maurya ji and Modi ji are quite confident they're going to make it back. So this kind of money is being allocated. Otherwise, they will have not allocated this money. As a matter of fact, if this 36,000 crores, $5 billion is allocated to expressway, this itself states they are 101% confident of coming back to power. So people of UP should be happy when we are talking about development, when we are talking about expressways, economy, commerce, and there are some people in the opposition who are still busy talking about, you should go to Kashi, our leaders are being raided, we are waiting for CBI to come, we are waiting for EDI to come, and those below the belt comments, because those kind of things do not work out, ma'am. Ultimately, the whole nation is watching this development being delivered. This is what the nation wants. They are not interested in, you passing on personal comments to one person. And yesterday I was on your channel. The Samajwadi Party was just talking about Amwas Holmes' son. I mean, as if they are bankrupt with all other agendas. Where are the agendas? Why don't they come and talk? We'll make bigger expresses. Why don't they talk about Mathura? Why don't they talk about such things? Their single point agenda is Amwas Holmes. Nothing over and above that. Because with this new thing, they are running more and more out of ammunition. And what I'm surprised today is there is no statement from Congress. Usually they have a tendency to oppose everything. I don't know what will they oppose in this expressway. How will they oppose it? Oppose it, and on which grounds? But I can bet you one thing: you will see them finding some issue trivial here and there and saying it. And I'm not surprised that after 6 months or 1 year, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav might come and say, "भाई ये तो हमने बनवाया था, ये तो हमारा ही आइडिया था, हमने सब कुछ किया, तो बीजेपी वाले क्रेडिट ले रहे." But people of the country and people of Uttar Pradesh are watching this. People of Purvanchal are watching this. The whole country is seeing one after one. Matlab darjano development projects are being delivered, and with facts, figures, and data. That is what makes the difference, and that is what is taking the opposition. This Rajniti or this politics of development is what the country wants. And there is nobody better than the Prime Minister Modi and Yogi Adityanath ji to deliver it. Because that is the power of double engine ki sarkar. That is what a double engine government can deliver. And today, all the apprehensions have been sorted out when you say 94% of the land is acquired. When you say 90% of the land was acquired in COVID times, you've given the number of trees, you've talked about the solar power, you've talked about the money, you've talked about the time to complete, you've talked about 3.5 kilometer airstrip, you've talked about 6 lane going to 8 lane. So all those aspects being complete, now it will be a treat to see, wait and watch what opposition comes back at. I mean, these kinds of development issues by any government for the people, by the people, and in the development of the country should be appreciated, respected, and supported.
Right, like you rightly mentioned.
10 long years. How many projects did he start and deliver in that time? That is the point number one. Compare 10 years with 5 years. I am talking about development delivered. Now, ma'am, when we talk of a project like this, who acquired the land? BJP. Who allocated the budget? BJP. Who is inaugurating? BJP. Who will deliver it? BJP. Look at the Purvanchal Expressway. In 2018, ma'am, Rahul Gandhi ji was going through that and his SUV got stuck in the potholes of the road. And he took a picture and tweeted it, Bhai, ye sarko ka halat hai. In 3 years, when laid the foundation stone, and within 3 years, a C-130 Super Hercules, the biggest, fattest flying machine lands on that. AN-32 lands, Sukhoi lands, Jaguar lands, and they take off. And Prime Minister comes in a Hercules and goes back in a Hercules. This is where the development pitch is about. If you have the intentions clear, within 3 years you can land a Hercules on a road जहाँ से गाड़ी नहीं निकलती, जहाँ से SUV फंस जाती थी. This talks about development. Now, Akhilesh Yadav ji can go and claim about anything to everything, but the people of UP know, the people of country know. You cannot befool the people. You cannot be suffering with that China syndrome wherein the Chinese leaders get up and say, oh, half of Tajikistan is mine, half of Greece is mine, and half of America is mine because my grandmother had a dream. So that kind of syndrome doesn't work on ground because you had 10 years. You cannot even complain and say, bhai, mere paas time nahi tha, 10 saal the. Compare you. I'm just saying, every time I see a Samajwadi party spokesperson, I tell him, let's compare your 10 years with BJP's 5 years. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk Ganit. Ganit pe baat karte hain, aankdon pe baat karte hain. They run away. They go back to Kashi. They go back to Ajay Taini. They go back to MOS ko kyun nahi hata rahe. They want to go back to Lakhimpur. They will not talk development. They will not talk Mathura. I'm saying that if you are Yaduvanshis, why don't you talk about Mathura? Why don't you talk about building a grand Krishna temple bigger than Ayodhya and Mathura? They will not talk about that. They are only interested in Lakhimpur. That is all. Ki Ajay MOS home ko hatao. Beyond that, they are run out of issues. And this is very vague. What do you think? The people of the country are stupid? They don't know. 10 saal mein aapne kuch nahi kiya. After 10 years, 5 more years have passed away, have been passed by. Now a development project is happening and you're saying, I conceptualized it 20 years back. Arey sir, kya bol rahe ho? I mean, kind talking about. It's very sad and unfortunate to see this happening. I would have expected a young leader like Akhilesh ji to talk about more development, to bring more promises. Say, इन्होंने इतना सड़क बना, मैं इतना बढ़ाऊंगा. You have seen the kind of law and order situation in UP in Akhilesh Yadav's time. You have seen how UP has become the number 2 in ease of doing business. You have seen how UP has climbed to number 2 in GDP. You have seen how UP is number 1 in getting the FDI. सबसे ज़्यादा expressways, सबसे ज़्यादा international airports and maximum railway stations and 59 medical colleges, highest money given to Ganna Kisan. So when numbers comes out, ma'am, what will Mr. Yadav do? He's looking for those trivial issues. I mean, why are you? I didn't like Mr. Akhilesh Yadav's that comment. कि आप बुड्ढे हो गए हो काशी में रहो. This is not. ये आपको शोभा नहीं देता अखिलेश जी. This is not what you should do, Honorable Prime Minister. He's your Prime Minister. He's my Prime Minister. He's Prime Minister of 1.3 billion people. As on that stature, personally, you might have a difference of opinion, but you have to respect the stature of the Prime Minister of India, because at the end of the day, you and me are citizens of India. We need to respect our Prime Minister. अगर हम इज्जत नहीं देंगे, उनको तो बाहर वाले देंगे क्या? पाकिस्तान देगा क्या? So this is what we have to do. I mean, you have to fight politics on political agendas. You have to fight politics on better, development agendas. By passing those personal comments and all, in today's time, when you look at the youth of the country, which is the power of the country, they don't take it in good sense. They want development. They want, what are you going to deliver me in 5 years? And Yogi ji has said one more good trend. Whatever Yogi and Modi ji spoke, in these 5 years, they have delivered. Ma'am, आधारशिला से लेके शिलान्यास, from a foundation stone to an inauguration, this was done in 5 years. This is what is important. It's not I'm going now, okay, let me put foundation stone for 20 projects and disappear after that. We have seen the plight of AIMS in Rai Bareli, which never saw the light of the day. We have seen that so-called rifle factory was coming up in Rahul Gandhi's committee, though after 2.5 years he has went there today. But it's not the point of the discussion here. But now we are seeing development being promised, foundations being laid, and within 3 years the projects are being completed and delivered to the people. Now this is where the proof of the pudding is. Now if you go and come and make tall claims ki bhai ye maine kiya tha, we had conceptualized, ma'am, nobody is going to buy this. And honestly, India has moved on with 1.3 billion smartphones, with everybody has access to 4G and 5G. If you still believe this kind of rhetoric will run, if you still think this kind of trap will sell, sorry to say that, your advisors are advising you wrongly. You have to change your politics. You have to move out from caste politics. You have to move out from that religion-based, sect-based politics. Talk of development, and that is what we expect from a young and a dynamic leader. But if you want to go back to rhetoric, maybe at the time of Netaji, Mulayam Singh Yadav ji, those things worked. That formula worked. But after a generation, this is not what is going to work. You are up against Yogi ji and Modi ji, who are 24/7 politicians who deliver development. You can only counter them with a bigger, better agenda. And one thing I want to say, ma'am, clear and explicit as it compares to UP elections. Development and dharma. D for development, D for dharma, they are sacrosanct, they are equally important in UP. You cannot have either or. We have to talk about development, we have to talk about dharma, come up with a bigger, better agenda, fight the election. Else, talking these trivial issues and making these staunch claims, and that's not going to find any water. That is just like holding sand in your hand, this slips from your fingers. It's as simple as that.
For more